Okay, so today we're looking at Bosch error code E15. So really quick in a nutshell, what's happening here? This is an overly simplistic view, but it should give you an idea. So as your dishwasher washes dishes, the water will swoosh around and settle on the bottom. Now at the end of the cycle, if everything is good, it'll drain out the bottom and everything is hunky-dory. But what happens if something blocks that exit? Well, there's a small overflow that allows a little bit of water to exit this area and essentially fill up a little sub-reservoir. Now, this sub-reservoir has a float where if some water gets in there, rises to the top of its reservoir and it pushes a button, which basically tells the dishwasher, hey, you can't work right now because the water's not going anywhere, and it throws error code E15. Okay, so first things first, make sure the power to your dishwasher is turned off. Next, remove the racks and clear out whatever caused the backup in the first place. Resetting the float won't matter if these two areas aren't clear. It'll just back up once again. So what you're going to need is a Torx T20 drill bit or screw bit. And depending on the model, you're going to want to remove all the screws on the inside of the door, although some models only require you to remove the screws on the sides and you can leave the top. However, this model required me to remove all of them. And keep track of the screw sizes. For me, the ones near the top were longer than the ones along the sides. However, it might be different for your model. So this is my door completely removed from the inside. It helps if you have a second set of hands to hold it in place because there are wires connected to it. And on the bottom, there's a rubber flap lifted up, and there are two Phillips screws that need to be removed. Once you unscrew them, you can take it off and put it to the side, and there are two more Torx screws that you'll need to undo before you can get at the float. So once those are removed, you can kind of pull down on the top right here. You might need to give it a little bit of muscle, but if you do it with two hands and pull down, it will come loose. So you can pop that off and set it aside. And the last thing you need to do to get under there is remove this insulation. Oh, there's some instructions as well, some wiring diagram. So you just kind of pull it out. It's tucked in at the bottom and it's in there pretty good, but if you pull it enough, you will get it out. And now you have access to the float. And this is the float right here. I'll zoom in on it. And if you do a touch test and find that there's some water down there, then you're certainly on the right track. This is your culprit. So I grabbed a rag and kind of cleaned up around it before I removed the sensor. But eventually you will need to remove the sensor and the float itself. So you could clean it up all in one foul swoop. So reach in and just kind of unclip this plastic sensor. It's got blue and red wires attached to it. Doesn't take much. You just kind of give it some muscle and it comes right off. And there you have it. That's the sensor with the button on it. And then right underneath is the float. So you can just pull it right up, but it is blocked on the right-hand side by that little steel rod. Just be gentle with it and kind of pull it out at an angle and it'll come out pretty easily. It's harder to do one-handed while holding a camera, but there we have it. And with that removed, I went in there with some rags and dried up that as good as I can. It doesn't have to be 100% dry, just make sure there's no pooling in there, and you'll be ready to put it back together. Okay, so I'm putting the float back in. Just be careful of that rod on there, be gentle. So here I got it back in, and you can see it fits right flush down against the floor. There's no more floating, and you just plug this back in just the way it was, easy peasy. Goes right back in with no resistance at all, and it's back to its reset form. And we're just going to do everything in reverse. So take the insulation that you pulled out last time, and you pop it in the bottom half first. Get it along the whole bottom side there and then just push it in near the top and you're back in action with the insulation. This part's a little bit tricky, but there's a little clip, you can see it in the middle of your screen there. That actually has to line up with these notches on the actual steel panel that we're replacing. And you'll have to forgive me, my camera fell over when I was doing this and I didn't realize, but you snap it back in place and re-input those two Torx screws that you took out before. And likewise with the black piece, your metal Phillips screws and make sure the rubber is on the top. So finally put the door back together. Again, long screws at the top, short along the side. It might be helpful to squeeze it together or get another set of hands to help you, but it's not that bad and it goes together pretty easily. And with that, done, you're done. Turn the power back on, open it up, turn it on, and you should see that error code is now cleared and replaced with the time for your cycle. You're back in business. Go wash those dishes.